Can you actually take debt and make money with it? I thought all debt was actually bad. My friend, you're actually here in one of my investments. I'm millions of dollars in debt, but guess what? It makes me money. So today we're going to talk about good debt, bad debt. Is it good? Is it bad? You're about to find out in a powerful way that can generate the kind of income that you've been waiting for in your life.
'Cause we're gonna be legends. What we're doing here ain't just scary. It's about to be legendary.
So this video today has to be made because we have too many of you out there that are like, okay, I want to invest in real estate, but I am not comfortable with debt. So in today's video, what I want to do is I want to help you learn how to be super uncomfortable with certain kind of debts, but I want you to completely expand your comfort zone on other kind of debts. At the end of this, I got a little surprise for you. There's a video that will be coming up next that tag teams perfectly with this information. I believe understanding this principle and watching that video will help you make millions of dollars in real estate. You just got to wrap your head around debt. So there are two kinds of debts. One is a liability that costs you money, and one is an asset that makes you money. We have to get away from the notion of, is debt good or bad? It's both, and it depends on how it's being leveraged. For just a moment, get totally backwards with me and think about this simple principle. You can borrow money at 5%, and you can sell money at 10%, and they're both dependable. Well, if you can borrow at 5 and you can sell at 10, who makes the 5% in the middle? You do. You know, all you're doing is taking low yields and turning them into high yields. And then you start saying, oh, well, Kris, how do I get money to put into those opportunities earning good money? Well, either you have to have it or you borrow it. Borrowing it is stupid if it doesn't make you money, and it's intelligent if it does make you money. Like, for just a moment, check out the space that we're in. I am standing in the studio of my convention center. This is a building that I bought. I had it fixed up. I can do events for 1,000 people. It's super fun and amazing. And the reality is, this building, I took on debt. I took on a couple $1 million of debt to make this project work. And yet, because of the amount of money that this space creates, it makes sense. So let me give you a scenario here. If you had $100,000, I could say, and let you know about a secret factory that I've had for 10 years that I'm about to sell. And this factory, it's $100,000 down payment, and it's $1 million factory. So you're gonna go $900,000 in debt. Just for a moment, how are you feeling about $900,000 of debt? The reality is, you don't know yet. It actually depends on what that debt does for you. So for example, I'm gonna put it here on the screen for you. This is my factory. It has 2 chimneys on the top. And my factory, it costs $1 million, and to get it, you have to put $100,000 of a down payment. Now, you've got the 100 grand. That's not what's keeping you up at night. What's keeping you up at night is the fact that after you put 100 grand down, how much is going to be left over on that mortgage? It is going to be $900,000. And most of you are thinking, well, that just sounds stupid, Kris. Why would I want nearly $1 million worth of debt? Well, I'll tell you why. You have to ask this question. What does the factory make? And you come to find out that the factory makes a widget, and it sells that widget, and it basically produces $50,000 a month of revenue. But it has about $20,000 a month in expenses. And this factory's been actually going for 40 years. And its numbers have almost never shifted. It's almost always the same. There's always going to be risk when you invest. But if I have $50,000 of revenue and I have $20,000 expenses, then how much money is left over at the end of the day? There's $30,000 of money that is left over, and we're going to call this profit. And the question is, what is my real profit? Well, listen, if I have a $900,000 debt, let's not take into account that there's one more additional expense. I actually have the mortgage on my $900,000 loan. And my $900,000 loan is costing me $10,000 a month. You have a $10,000 a month obligation. Most of you would be like, that's so much money. But after we remove the $10,000 loan obligation, what's left over? There's still $20,000 left over a month, which is equivalent to $250,000 a year. If you can be comfortable with $900,000 of debt, then guess what you can have? $250,000. Now just ask me, if I did the research on this and this was a good deal, is this something I would do? Would I come up with $100,000 to make $250,000 next year? Guess what the answer is? Yes! And you'd be crazy if you didn't. So right now, put yourself in those shoes, and if you start feeling really nervous and squirrely, what it really means is that you just haven't been educated on debt. That's why I'm making this video for you, and that's why I have another video at the end of this that I really want you to watch. It'll be appearing in this top corner over here. Let's talk about the difference between good debt and bad debt and make sure that you actually really understand this. So listen up, my friend. We're talking about this four-letter word debt. And instead of just saying all debt is bad, that's what a consumer should say, but not a savvy investor. And so there's a good version and there's a bad version. And I want to make sure that you understand how these are different. First of all, a good debt is actually an investment. It's designed to actually produce money. But if it's a bad debt, this is actually called a consumer debt. And a consumer debt, because guess what it does? It consumes, it eats things, it requires things. See, the investment over here, this actually makes you money. This one over here, it costs you money. So by the way, let's just do a little quiz right here and find out what goes left and what goes right. A boat, is it an investment or a consumer debt? A boat is bad. The boat itself is not bad, but I need my investments to pay for my boat, okay? So the boat doesn't make me money, it costs me money. Now, by the way, if I take the boat and I rent it out and I rent it out profitably, then it shifts all of a sudden from being bad to what? It goes from bad to being good. So how about this one? A car. Is a car an investment? If you are privately consuming it and it costs you money and it doesn't make you money, then it's bad. If you are an Uber driver and you pay for the car plus you make money, then it's not bad anymore. It's what? It's good. What about this one though? This is where people get confused. Your house. Oh, well, Kris, it's real estate. It's going to go up in value. You know, people say your house is probably the best investment you'll ever make. This is true. It might be the best investment because after 30 years and your house has gone up $300,000, it represents a big part of your nest egg. But guess what? You didn't do it on purpose, and if you were smart, you would have done it 100 more times, even 10 more times. The house, however, I've got bad news. It is actually a consumer debt. Why? Because you have to pay to live in it. It costs you money. And while it might appreciate in value, it's not actively producing that for you. So guess what? Boats, cars, houses. Now what about travel? I'm going to come up and I'm going to spend money to go have an amazing experience. I'm not saying it's bad. I don't know if anyone spends more money on travel mostly than me. Like I'm a crazy fan of traveling. But travel also consumes. It takes your money. So what would actually go on this side of the line when it comes to actually investments that make sense? Well, for example, when I buy real estate, the question is, if I do it the right way, does it make me money? Yes. Does it go up in value? Yes. Does it provide tax benefit? Yes. Guess what? It goes up in value. It's an appreciating asset, okay? So then you say, well, Kris, what about my business? I went $100,000 in debt to buy my factory business. Was that good or bad? Question is it making money or are you losing money? Oh, well, I make money. Can it service the debt? Oh, yeah, and there's lots left over. Guess what? Your business is a good debt. Now, I'm going to write a funny one up here. I'm going to call this one a bad business. No one buys a bad business, but the business sometimes turns bad with the way it was managed, or maybe the economy shifts, people's trends, shift away from the product. A business that costs you money, it's bad. You've got to actually find a way to actually get rid of that. It is no good for you, okay? So this is the conversation of good debt and bad debt. Now, up to this point, I've given you the basics on this, but you may have heard of Robert Kiyosaki. He's been big in the real estate game for a number of years. He does a lot of education out there. And there's a lot of Robert's philosophy that really resonates with me. I remember when I read his first book, Rich Dad, Poor Dad, it made a huge impression on me understanding the difference between good financial information and decisions and bad financial information decisions. He takes the conversation of debt to a whole new level because he actually talks about how you can even take a bad debt and turn it into a productive debt, actually make money on it. And I thought that that was absolutely worthy enough that I want you to click the video, I want you to watch it, and then join me tomorrow on my next video or circle back and come play, because if you get this conversation, we should be investing together or I should be helping you do more of it. Right now though, I need you to click that video and see what Robert Kiyosaki has to say on the matter, because he's gonna do something amazing. He's gonna talk about how you take a bad debt and actually turn it into a good debt.